Hey guys, what is up? It is Nathan here, and my camera's kind of messed up, but this is the Adventure Force Conquest Pro. A very cool rear loading magazine-fed half-dart blaster. Now, this review will be uncut, and I've had this blaster for a couple days. And so it's a very simple blaster. It's pump action. It has a muzzle that's slightly different from the Nexus Pro muzzle. I have one. Slightly different from the Nexus Pro muzzle. But no less cool. I actually don't use it on the Conquest Pro because I think it's better as a compact blaster because it's, I don't know, 2/3 the size of the Nexus Pro, something like that. It's a very useful blaster for CQB, is what I've noticed. It loads from the ass. We've all discovered that. And that's using the magazine that it came with, that gravity drops out. It has this little lip on the bottom that makes it sit flush, relatively flush, that is. But it's also compatible with a variety of other magazines. Case in point, the Dart Zone Pro Mark 1.1 mag. This is my original. I actually do have a Mark 1.1, and it just loads in there. It's slightly tighter, so it doesn't gravity drop out, but it fires. It fires completely fine. And then you can just press the mag release, and Drac already created an extended mag release. I'm 6'3", I have large hands and I can barely get this. So that's gonna be cool. But it's compatible with the Mark 1.1 magazines, and I have another one here that I'm gonna show something else with, but it's compatible with the Adventure Force Nexus Pro / Aeon Pro magazines as well. And it just gravity drops out. And then it also is compatible with Worker Talon mags. This is actually the only one I have. It's compatible with the stick ones, but I've heard that it's not compatible with the curved Talon mags, or unfortunately it's also not compatible with Out of Darts' 29 round Tachi magazine, which I was going to use in this if it was compatible, but it's completely compatible with Worker Talon mags, and they actually work quite well. When you slam fire too quickly, sometimes they either misfeed or they shimmy out, is what I've noticed, but maybe it's just because this Talon mag's fairly old, or fairly worn out. And then I mentioned I have more Dart Zone Pro magazines. This one is just to show the best part of this blaster. So, to my knowledge, before this blaster came out, the Lynx was the only hobby grade magazine fed, half-dart magazine fed blaster that had SLAMFIRE. This one also does. And yeah, that makes me very happy. I want a shotgun grip for this, just because I think that'd be cool. Either a shotgun grip or to get one of Captain Slug's Pyrangle grips, like on the Pyragon, and use one on here, either with an angled adapter or something, or a Picatinny adapter. But this is such a cool blaster. It has a jam door, but it doesn't need it because in my testing, I've fired probably 2 or 3 loadouts worth of ammunition through this, like, over and over, and it hasn't misfed once. So I'm very happy with this, and I will say, will it replace your Nexus? I mean, honestly, no. This has to be for a specific kind of person, that person being me. And unfortunately, it's with the Nexus, you can't really, if you start with something like the Nexus or the Dart Zone Pro, you can't really go much of anywhere with the same kind of thing like you were able to do with the Aeon. I have all my Pro Blasters out here because I'm planning a video, but the Aeon, ignore the Flux kit. The Aeon is it's a pistol. It's pretty damn big for a pistol. Here it is compared to a Dart Zone Pro Mark II. But like, here's this blaster compared to an Aeon. If you're gonna add a pump grip to an Aeon Pro, then you might as well do something like this, in my opinion, because this, despite it being $25, this is $40, and I know you'd spend twice as much on a good pump grip, and you'd have to assemble it yourself. This is fine, ready to go, and it's compatible with every single magazine I tested it with, and I know it's compatible with katanas as well. So I know friends of mine and people on the auxiliary have already tested that, and they said it is. So it's an innovative and kind of cool loading system. As Walcom already mentioned, it does remind me quite a lot of the G11 in terms of the way it loads. But it's reliable, it's compact, it's at least compact for a primary, because it's 2/3 the length of the Nexus Pro, and the Nexus Pro is a pretty big, yeah, it's about 2/3 the length of the Nexus Pro without the barrel adapter, or about the size of the Nexus without the buffer stock, or the buffer tube. So I really like this. I think that it's a very specific person who would have to be using this, but I like this for CQB, and since most of our battles are CQB anyway, I actually like this a little bit more than the Nexus. In terms of like CQB, I still prefer the Mark II. Still haven't done a review on this. Review coming soon. And for long range, I prefer something like the Nexus or the Dart Zone Pro Mark I. Again, review coming soon. Whoopsie. But I do like this. And the only thing I need to do is I need to install that Drax extended mag release, as well as I need to open it up and delete the safety and paint, or I might not delete the safety, I don't know, and paint the white portions black like my Aeon, what I did with my Aeon, or even what I did with my Nexus. So I do think that this still has a place, even for competitive, especially for competitive CQB, and the fact that it has SLAMFIRE is definitely a very cool feature that I really wish was on the Nexus, but that's fine, or even the Aeon. But yeah, so this is a very high recommendation coming from me, because here's the thing, you can't get a Nerf primary really for $40, with some exceptions, but especially, you can't get anything from Nerf with this kind of performance, and this is $40. It's kind of like when the Aeon's $25. the Nexus was 50, and you can't get that performance still from Nerf. So I do think that this definitely has a place, and I think that this is kind of like I hate to say this because I really love the blaster I'm about to compare it to, but I think this is the evolution, the Dart Zone evolution of something like the Rampage, because it has a different mag loading place, and it has a front grip, which is very comfortable. The rear grip for my hands is perfect, and I think that this is kind of like the replacement to the Rampage. Not the replacement, but this is like the high-powered version of the Rampage, just with no mag sticking out. So it alleviates both the problem with the Rampage and one of the problems with the Elite Alpha Trooper is that it does not have a mag sticking out, which is good. The one thing that I can think of, and this goes for the Aeon as well, is that you cannot disassemble this easily. You can't modify it easily. With the Nexus, I'm glad I have these to compare. With the Nexus, you can just open the back cap and replace the spring. With the Mark II, all you have to do is take off the slide and you can replace the spring. The Mark 1 and Mark 1.1, I have no idea. But this and the Aeon Pro, you really can't. But that is completely okay because this hits about as hard as my Nexus. My Nexus isn't modified, but this hits just as hard as my Nexus and harder than my Aeon, since my Aeon has the AWU kit or the Flux kit and the AWU spring from Drac. This is one of the hardest hitting blasters I own currently. Still beaten by the Dart Zone Pro Mark 1.1 when it works. So that is my review of the Adventure Force Conquest Pro. It is a high recommendation. I need to start actually rating again, but I definitely would recommend, if you want a new addition to the Adventure Force collection or the Dart Zone Adventure Force Pro collection, and you like the idea of having a slimmer blaster for CQB, and you don't mind the kind of weirder ergonomics compared to something like the Nexus, which is actually not that far, or you don't mind having a stock and you don't mind the weird mag loading technique, this is a really good choice. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite blasters of 2021, and this is the eve before the eve of the Mark III's, the Dart Zone Pro Mark III being announced. The Mark III is supposed to be a flywheeler. So I'm excited for that, but I definitely do recommend the Conquest Pro. It's definitely a really cool blaster just in terms of appearance, but also in terms of ergonomics and function. I think that it does have a space in our hobby, especially because it has SLAMFIRE. So yeah. I would like to thank you all very much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see all you guys later. Stay tuned for the Mark II video, as well as the Mark 1.1 video eventually, and an overview of all of them. See you later.